Hey y'all, I'm back. It's Stick Madam 730 here with the review for Blindspot Season 1, Episode 16. So let's talk about Blindspot. So we start off with an armored truck coming down the road, the little two guards in the back, they cussing and going off because of whatever music the guard up front is playing. So they banging on the window, basically like seriously. And then we see blood, blood, a shot in the driver's cabin, and then the blood, the excuse me, the truck. Oh, that was nasty. Excuse me, y'all. The truck veers off the road, and then we see basically a gang of people with masks on, and they blow off the back of the truck. So the one little guard, he trying to protect it or whatever, but it's not gonna happen for him. We just already know that. So Weller goes to his sister's place and looking for for her and his nephew Sawyer. Shout out to Miranda Dorsey. I want to say a special shout out to you. Thank you for supporting my videos and watching and viewing and sending me that message like, "Hey girl, what's up? What you doing? What's going on? I want you to review." So that it was my motivation to really come back. Definitely wanted to record the videos, but I definitely want to say shout out to my subscribers, and I thank y'all for sticking in there with me. So he comes to the apartment looking for Sarah and Sawyer, and they're not there. It looks like she's moved out. So he calls her. She don't answer. He leave her a message and tell, like, what's going on with you? Call me when you get this message. So then we see Patterson get a phone call, and it's a restaurant saying, you got a reservation. And she's like, no. And they tell her, well, it's under the name of David Wagner, and I was given specific instructions to call this number. The reservation is for tonight at 8 o'clock, and the lady tells her that he made that reservation over a month ago. So that's crazy. So we have Reed and Weller in the workout room, and they're working out with different people, and then the two people leave, and Reed and Weller start working out together. He started asking, he was like, when the last time you talked to Sarah? And then Reed was like, he hadn't talked to her recently or whatever. He was like, well, what's going on with y'all? He was like, well, we broke up. And, he was like, well, basically what's up with it? And Reed was kind of like, well, you should be happy. We broke up. Basically, like, you didn't want us to be together in the first place. You should be happy that I'm telling you we broke up. Why you giving me giving me shit about it? So, Weller tells Reed that if she's not happy, I'm not happy. And he was like, he was like, man, I can't win with you. So it's just basically like, you want me not to be with her. And then I basically Reed kind of fought to say, you can't tell us what to do. We gonna be together and I like her. And then when he did end up breaking up with her, now it's a problem. So, Reed pissed off and Weller pissed off. So then Jane's coming into the office, and Weller meets her like he's coming off the elevator or whatever. And he says good morning to her and tells her that today is Taylor Shaw's birthday, tells her happy birthday. He got her a little gift. So when they're in the middle of that kind of exchange, and it's kind of a moment, I guess, for them. You can see they're having a moment a little bit. Here come Night, Weller's new boo, even though they don't want to really, I don't know if they're saying that now, but I guess they're really saying it now, because when she comes up, she was like, hey, and basically like, I can come back if y'all busy, kind of like, I think that was kind of like a side eye to Kurt, because he told her it wasn't nothing between him and Jane or whatever, I guess. So Jane was like, nah, I'm gone. So she left, and then they have this little moment about, she brought him lunch, and that was cute. And then they had this little moment about her wanting to cook later, and how she had burnt some pizza, put the pizza in the oven in the box, child. Come on now, listen, let me tell you something. If you can't cook, there are some things you should not be able to mess up. You shouldn't be able to mess up toast. You shouldn't be able to mess up toaster oven pizzas. Pizza you got to put in the oven. And you shouldn't be able to mess up microwave dinners. If any of them go wrong, we're going to pray for you. We're going to pray for you. So anyway, she can't cook. But, it's just a little playful exchange between them. So we come into, basically the briefing room, and Patterson, they're talking about the robbery, and Patterson is breaking down that one of Jane's tattoos is connected to the robbery. But before she can get to that, she cannot focus. She's seeing images of David, him being killed, and all the stuff that led up to that stuff in their relationship. I feel so bad for her because that has to be so hard. Like she was opening up and all that kind of stuff after being so guarded. I feel so bad for her. So they trying to, Mayfair trying to get her back on, like, okay, what does got to do with the tattoos? Da, da, da. Okay, yeah, Jane's tattoo. So then she kind of get back into it. So she's telling us that this tattoo on Jane is the exact replica for the logo for the security company of the armored truck company. But then they find out it is a fake company. It doesn't exist. So they all kind of like, doesn't exist? What do you mean? Like, it just don't exist. So the truck wasn't registered with the DOT or anybody. So basically, like, we don't know what they were transporting, but clearly it had to be something that that wasn't legal, for them to be transported. I didn't say that Weller and Reed had a moment in the briefing room when they were talking about the case, because Weller had cut Patterson off and said, back to the robbery, because she had started talking about the geometric shapes and the math and stuff. And then Reed was like, let her finish. Maybe it'll help, solve the case. Like cutting Weller off and cutting Patterson off. And it was just like a little moment between them two. So now they're trying to figure out, this company that don't exist, what would they be carrying and how is this connected to Jane and her tattoo? So they need to know what was inside that truck. So they go to the scene, and at the scene they notice in the tire marks, they notice that it had to have been probably an SUV. They see that the doors were torched. So, you kind of get an idea for who is this. It's professional. It's serious. So they see that, a guard was shot here. And they used these armored piercing bullets. So whoever was in there didn't even have a chance to be protected because they had bullets that could pierce through. So then state trooper comes over, brings them over. There's a guy laying out in the snow, just out there, little Chinese guy, and he has atropine and pralidoxamine, and it says it's for use in a nerve agent poisoning. So now, what you're doing with this in reference to this robbery, and what does this all have to do with anything? So they realize that it is the antidote for sarin gas. So that these people are transporting chemical weapons. So, oh Lord help us. So they're trying to find out where that sarin coming from. And Patterson points out that no less than 15 miles away from where they are is the United States Chemical Material Agency, which is who destroys all of the chemical weapons. And they then are running through the victims, and it's 3 Chinese agents. They're all South Korean nationals. My bad. All South Korean nationals, and Mayfair is reaching out to who's in charge, which is some Major Sheridan or whatever. So we got to try to figure out who these people are and what's the tea, honey. So the victims are all clean. They don't have a criminal history. They realize that even them getting into the country was all clean. This lady named Vanessa Chang is who basically signed off on their work visas. These people don't work for the CMA, so they're trying to figure out why would they have this stuff. So we have Jane gets a flashback as they're walking through the snow, and in this flashback we see her walking, and she's coming up to a celebration that they're having in memoriam of Taylor Shaw. And she's standing around a tree. Now, listen, I can't with Blindspot because that's a lot. Like, that's a small thing. That was a very small scene in terms of that flashback. But what that means is crazy to me, because what that means is all this time, I guess before her memory got erased, she knew who she was. She was Taylor Shaw and she was watching them. Oh my gosh. We even see in that flash that Weller was Weller was there, and it would have been Taylor's 30th birthday. So now we're more into the investigation. So we got Mayfair and Weller talking to the dude Sheridan, he's a major corporal. He had on a real nice suit with a whole bunch of medals and accommodations. He was really something. So they were asking him, what's up? He said, if it's sarin, it didn't come from us. Basically they run a tight ship security wise in reference to this particular chemical because they're the people that destroy it. He was like, we practice real hard, to not have theft take place. So then you see them talking to this Amy Chang lady, and they showing her pictures of the deceased, and it's Zapata and Reed talking to her. And she was like, oh my. And so they were like, you know them? And she was like, I thought I did. And so she tells them that she signed their work visas 3 years ago and that they came as drivers to her to work for her company. So they tell the little corporal guy, basically it could be one of your employees. And he was like, he highly doubt it. They got to question everybody within the last 2 years that has had access to the sarin gas. So they're talking to the Amy Chang lady. And she says a month ago, she found out one of the dudes was stealing from her warehouse and reselling the stuff. And then she said, as she investigated more, she found out that the other guys were involved. And they say, well, didn't you do a background check when, you sponsored their visas? So she said no red flags came up when she did the background check, but she said she did ask around later on and found out that one of the guys had ties to a Chinese gang. Jane is in the room with Mayfair and Weller and asks how bad is sarin, and the man said basically it melts your organs while you asphyxiate. I don't even want to imagine what that feel like. I just don't. I'm good on that. No, thank you. No, thank you. So they bring up the fact that the Amy Chang lady, excuse me. They bring up the fact that Amy Chang has IRS issues, and she was like, if you insinuating I'm in something criminal, my father's history, he was Chinese, he came here, he struggled for us, he didn't have much money in his pocket, and, they basically saying money made people do crazy things when your back's up against the wall. She was like, you see at that moment, Zapata has his look because that applies to her in reference to her gambling. And then the lady was like, she would never disgrace, herself and her families. She would never do that. And then the general corporal guy tells us that that if they have a whole truck of it, that they could wipe out the entire city. That's so scary. So, all right. So now that we know this can blow the whole state out, the whole town out, or all the folks out, let's find out. So they go try to get an update. And Patterson tells them that the three guys, 20 minutes before the robbery, turned off their cell phones. And then her vector search, see, what y'all be doing on them cell phones? The vector search found a known associate that turned their cell phone off at the same time. And basically, as they go through it, they deduce that based on that other man getting shot, probably that was him. This dude was Sam Lee. He was in that cabin with that other one because, they're saying a 4-man team, but there's not a fourth body. Boom. There you go. So, no cell phone hits, but Patterson does have an address. So, they're getting ready to go, and Patterson was like, whoop, sarin gas antidotes. She said, God forbid you need them, but you get exposed. You inject yourself immediately. Organ failure begins in 1 minute. 1 minute. So they get out. And they walking up to the building where Sam Lee is. And immediately Jane spots him. He sees them and immediately first of all, he grabbed this lady and immediately started busting. Pow, 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 pow. So none of them have a clear shot. Weller walks up, pow, shoots him on the side. Like he was shooting at them facing this way. Weller came this side on him, okay? So he didn't even see Weller. He couldn't cover all sides. You're trying to hold this lady and shoot people and you got several people on you. Somebody was going to get you. So, shoot him, pull his wallet, key card, has this little special insignia on it, and then look at the cell phone and say he got 12 missed calls for the same number. Call the number, and guess who answered? It was the general, y'all. The general, that's what he was. Now I know what he was. He wasn't the corporal or the major. He was the general. So when the general answered the phone, and nobody said nothing, he knew what time it was. He immediately broke that phone in half. So then we have Patterson talking to the therapist, and she's telling him, it's her 1 year anniversary with David. So now we know why she getting the flashes, and she's seeing that, she's kind of disturbed. It's her 1 year anniversary. The restaurant called, reservation for tonight. He must have booked it, and Doc's kind of like, yeah. And she was saying today is the last day that the Times published his crossword puzzle, and she just feel like she keep getting signs, and the doctor actually encourages her to go. And he tells her, instead of trying to bury it and move away from it, why don't you celebrate his life and, actually have a toast? And she was like, but he's gone and I'm not supposed to move on. So she just don't really know what to do, which is, again, I feel sorry for Patterson, but she need to go to the dinner. So the doctor tells Patterson, basically sometimes, grief doesn't look all the way the same, and you're going to need to figure out your way to get closure. And this might be the best thing for you as opposed to trying to fight the memories, embrace them, and all of that, and be able to move on. So then Mayfair is getting together with the team. They're looking for the general. They found the phone. They're trying to locate him, trying to see if he have any family in the area. All transportation hubs have been alerted just in case he tries to run. So the people at the CMA are helping. They're going to release any inventory information they have. They're saying in order for him to have pulled this off, he had to have an accomplice. So, trying to really figure out how this man was able to get all this done. It's always the ones in charge. It is always the ones in charge. That's all I'm going to say. So they get with Patterson, and Patterson tells them that there are discrepancies with the reporting for the CMA. So what she explains to them is that when you're destroying chemical weapons, is that you're supposed to report to the Environmental Protection Agency in terms of your emissions. And she's saying that the amount that they were actually admitting in terms of releasing when they burned or destroyed or supposedly destroyed the chemical weapons, it does not match up with what they reported. They reported more than what they actually did and produced, which indicates that he was stockpiling. And it means that more than just this truck that has just been robbed is actually missing, and that's more of a problem. So then Reed comes in and is telling them about these two soldiers who have recently been having their bank accounts paid to them by this trust, and this trust has recently bought some property. So now they're trying to see if they can kind of locate this property to see if that's going to lead them to this person or maybe even to the general. So while they're riding out to this property, Zapata brings up with Reed that him and Weller are acting funny. She's basically like messing with him, saying, is the bromance dead? And he was like, what you talking about? He tells her that he broke up with Sarah. And she was like, what'd you do? And he was like, nothing. I just broke up with her. And she was like, I thought you said you were crazy about her. He doesn't want to talk about it. But of course we know it's because he's been threatened. So then Patterson's going to talk to Weller, and she's saying that she thinks that they are looking at the tattoos too myopically. Now, I guess that's one-sided in terms of view. And so, because I don't know what the term means, and I don't have my tablet to really, but if I think about the breakdown of the word myopically, I think probably just one view. They need to look at it from a different view. So she's proposing that they increase the budget, and Mayfair is basically like, every department wants more money. Patterson's, telling her how her department is already stressed. Looking, all the people that she has is already stressed in terms of working the tattoos currently. In order to be able to go back and look at them in a second way and a third way, she needs more people, means you need a more of a budget in order to hire those people. So Mayfair tells her, basically everybody want more money. Whether you're going to get it or not is the question. And she'll see what she can do. So the team gets to this property, and, Patterson is on the other side looking. Weller's like, Patterson, are you sure that this is the right location? Because there's nothing here. She says, you all are standing on water. She was like, she was looking at a satellite map from 3 years ago, and it used to be a pond. So they're saying somebody's drained the pond. And then she's also looking and saying that the electricity bill or the energy that's being used in this place is a high amount of energy. So they're fanning out and they're looking around. So as they're searching through this little field, there's nothing but snow covering it. Jane gets another flash of herself at the Taylor Shaw 30, she's 30 memorial. And she sees Weller and his father having a conversation. People were already looking at Weller's father kind of funny for being at the little ceremony, because Weller's father was originally accused of kidnapping and murdering Taylor Shaw, which we now know didn't happen because she is now living. But at the time, she was assumed to be dead and had been kidnapped and done by Weller's father. I guess at this time, I'm not clear on that, because if this is her 30-year memoriam and she's watching, maybe I'm missing something. But anyway, he's saying don't nobody want you here. Weller and was telling his daddy that, and Jane was watching from around the tree. So then Weller finds like this little manhole, and they open it up and they go down in, and then of course the general's there, so he started busting pop, 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 pop. He got this little detonator and telling them back up, don't run up on me, because if you run up on me, I'm going to release this little thing here, and then we all dead, because this is the sarin gas that he has stockpiled down in this basement. So the reason they couldn't see anything in terms of this property is because everything is underground. So that's what you do. You go underground and you find a way to cover up your tracks, or wherever your hole or your entry point is, then they can't find you so easily. But I think based on them having all that stuff down there, it took a lot of energy to store and keep those chemical weapons or whatever. So that's probably why they use a lot of energy. So he gonna blow the joint up if they come any closer, right? So they're trying to explain to him, you were supposed to be destroying it. You're supposed to be watching out. He was saying America is, basically our country is not smart for getting rid of the stockpile. Our enemies have biological and nuclear weapons, and we need to be ready to attack. He was saying that he survived Iraq, and he saw plenty of villages and plenty of people who were harmed and babies born with deformities because of it, and we don't need to allow this to happen again. And then Jane took her gun off and she was trying to talk to him, and you did this to save people, and you don't want to die, so you're not going to take your thumb off that button, you're not going to do that, da, 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 da. He was trying to tell her don't come no closer, and then she grabbed him and put some kind of ninja kung fu something on him and took that thing out of his hand, and then she she disarmed the detonator. How about that? She disarmed the detonator, and then they arrested him, and then he tells them that South Korea had a liaison. Chang. So I was calling the lady Amy. Her name is Vanessa. Anyway, so Vanessa Chang was a liaison for South Korea, which was who he said he sold it to, which is our ally. Okay, so coming together that Vanessa Chang also had helped him move the stuff out of the country, and that she's the one that knows the ins and outs of the operation. So he said that 40 canisters are missing. When he realized that it was gone, he knew he had to come and try to get rid of it, because obviously she was going to come and rob him for some more. So she's using being South Korean and her ally to get over on him, but she double-crossed him. So Vanessa Chang's company has 3 crates that are delivering, 2 going to Japan, and 1 that was originally going to Thailand, and then another one that was originally going to Thailand, and then she just changed the destination last week to China. So they tell them to call the port authority, and then the team goes to this port. So they show up, and when they get there, the little gate that they got to go into has the same symbol as that key card that they got off Sam Lee. So they go in the port and they start busting. They always got that firepower, because, you can't play. You going against some hard criminals who ready to kill you. Pow, 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 pow. Weller, Jane, everybody getting it in trial. Gunfire everywhere. The bad guy shooting and the FBI shooting. So they pop a few people and get them down. Reed gets somebody, and then Jane and Weller run up on somebody and Weller just beat the dude down or whatever. So here come Vanessa Chang shooting off, and she done shot one of the little cans. So now that's exposure to that damn chemical. So Jane exposed, Vanessa Chang exposed, and Weller is exposed. So Jane shoots herself, and then no. Jane's was broken, so Weller shot her with his, and then Vanessa Chang had ran off and was finna give herself hers, and Jane shot her from the shot her from the side, ran and got hers, gave it to Weller, and then Reed was coming up and she was like, she needs your sarin antidote. So when he gave her the first dose, because it's two things you have to give. He gave her the first one, and then he was trying to be slow about giving her the second one, and then and he was like, "Who's the target? Who is the target?" And she was like, "It's too late." And so he was looking like crazy. So then when they took her back, they were talking to her, and she just basically told them she was working for both sides. So she was working with South Korea, but North Korea made her a better offer. So she's selling the weapons to North Korea. She don't know who the target is. They find these vacuum cleaners that were hollowed out in order for them to carry the containers, and also some janitorial uniforms, so they know it's local. So they're trying to figure out where and when. So Patterson finds out that Ripley cleans 5 buildings in New York, and one of them is the New York Stock Exchange. So there's a big IPO today, so they think that that's the target. So then they're heading out there. While they're walking, Jane gets a flash again back to this memorial service for Taylor Shaw, and now we see that Oscar is with her. And he said, "It's been 25 years. Are you sure that you're over?" She said it's been 25 years, and it seems like, it just happened for them, or it's so fresh for them in terms of the grieving. But I think what you don't understand is there was no body. So what you not grasping is, for this mother and this family, my child has went missing, she was murdered, that's all they can think, and there is no body. It's different for somebody who loses their child. That's hard, most definitely. For anybody that has lost a child, that's hard. But not to say at least, but you have that is your child there that has been buried in the ground. Even if y'all put a headstone there is no body there. So that's hard for people to get over, and she's acting like, that it's a lot for them, that they still so deep into grieving over it being at its 25 years. And then Oscar was like, "Are you sure that you're over it? Are you sure that this is what you had wanted to do or whatever?" And she kind of looks unsure, but it just kind of is what it is at this point. It's 25 years later. So all right, they at the stock exchange, and they're going through and they looking, trying not to look too suspicious like they're looking for a criminal, but definitely they're on the hunt. So Zapata and Jane are kind of in the up level that's way above, looking down to see, and then Reed and Weller kind of walk on the floor. So Reed and Weller catch one guy, on the floor, kind of going out, and then another one comes onto the floor, and Zapata and Jane spot them. So Weller and Reed are able to get close to their guy, but Jane and them are like, they up and he's down, so they can't get to him. So Jane was like, "I got it." Pow, shot the ceiling out. She fell through. Superhero woman down to the ground on the glass, jumped down and got the man. So they disarmed the men. Everybody on the stock floor looking all nervous and scared, but they really just saved y'all life if you don't know what's been going on. So back at the office, Zapata comes up to Reed and she's like, "What's going on with you? You okay?" Because she can kind of see in his face that he's down. He's like, "No, I'm just trying to do some paperwork before I go home. He's trying to play it cool." And she was like, "Look, I know it's none of my business." Well, she at first had said, "Well, I can wait for you." And he was like, "No, I'll see you tomorrow." So she was like, "I know it's none of my business, but I think you're making a mistake with Sarah. It's the happiest I ever seen you." And he was like, "Look, why would you think we all single? This is not the job for people who can go home to happy husbands and wives and children and live a life, other than this. This is us. Our job is us. This is what we got. That's what it is." So then Jane and Weller are talking in the locker room. The gift he gave her was this little nice necklace, a little gold circular thing with I think it had like a little emerald in it. And he said that her mom had bought it. So I assume her mom either bought it for her when she was born, or she bought it for herself when the baby was born, but it was originally her mother's. He tells her that when her mom passed away, some of her things were sold, and he knew that that was important, so he purchased it. She asked him, did he want to buy her a birthday drink? He said he would love to, but he had plans, and Jane knew it was Allie. And you kind of see that disappointment on her face. So then Mayfair calls Reed into her office, and she tells him that you and me are kind of the same. Everybody knows me to be a straight shooter. And she was like, the conversation that we had previously just didn't sit well with me in terms of what you said. She said the only time that I never went with my instinct is when I was scared. And his whole face told that she read exactly what was going on. And he was like, no, I don't. I'm sorry that you don't believe me, but I told you I don't know anything, and it was nothing more about it. I'm telling you the truth. So she was like, okay, but you still tell that she don't believe that. So we see Zapata go into a gambling shop place, and you can kind of tell, it's not where she's supposed to be. We already know she has a problem. She had like a real big debt. That was the whole thing with Carter in that situation that happened a while back. He was trying to blackmail her. And it's that old Leary music, like you high. Like, so, it's kind of, she's swirling back into her old world. She can't buy a scratch off. Like, you gotta go in there and do the blackjack and all that kind of stuff. Girl, good scratch off ain't gonna give you that zing you need. You might win some money better off with the scratch off. But anyway. And then we see Patterson at dinner. And, at first she's feeling kind of silly about being there. She's like, I shouldn't have did that. And then we get to see that David's talking to her. We see him, but we know the seat is empty. So he was like, did you bring my crossword puzzle? And she ordered herself a bourbon. And he started, like they used to do, calling out the crossword puzzle clues to her, and she was figuring it out. So it was a nice little moment. She know he's gone, because she said to him, you're dead, and he said details. So it's just basically like, we got to enjoy this moment, because even though I'm dead, you still get to experience my spirit, which was kind of a beautiful thing to see, because she's smiling and she's happy. So she really did need it. So I'm glad she went to the dinner. So Allie and Weller are having a moment, just talking about how things are good. They don't fight, good sex. And, basically she's telling him, don't sabotage it. Something that's good, let's just let it just be good, and let's just enjoy it. Don't get scared, don't mess it up, etc. So we see Jane and Oscar meet up, child. And, baby, did it get steamy. So Oscar and Jane meet up, and Oscar tells Jane, we need you to get closer to Weller. And she was like, he's with Allie. And he said they didn't anticipate him getting back with her. So, because Allie and Weller have dated in the past, that's what Allie was saying, because every time it's good, he gets all nervous, I guess, and basically sabotages or breaks up or whatever. So it tells Jane, we need you to get closer to Weller. She was like, you want me to break them up? I think that Allie's good for him. He was like, it's not about what's good for him, it's about the mission. And so she was like, no, she didn't want to do that or whatever. And he was like, you got to make sacrifices. And she said to him, well, what sacrifices are you making? He was like, we've all made sacrifices. And, he just basically let her know, it's hard for me to come and meet you and not touch you and not tell you I love you. You think I want you getting close to him? I wouldn't want you getting close to him. So, she was like, I don't know what you want. And he just kissed her so strong and passionately. And then, you could tell for Jane it felt right, because when he stopped and, there was a part that she came back, she was coming back for it. And then they got heated, and he put her little tattoo body up on that table, and he took his shirt off. He was ready, honey. So we have Patterson back at the table with David, and she has completed the crossword puzzle, and she realizes that 3 of the clues say, got one, Patterson. And she said, you put this in for me? And he just started smiling. And then she said, got one, Patterson. Got one what? She said, did you solve another tattoo? And he just started smiling, and then it went off. That was so sweet. So we're going to get to see some stuff with David and Patterson next week. That's going to be so cool. Thank y'all for watching. I love y'all. I hope my pause and reaction and all that. I'm just still giving you the blow by blow, but I'm doing it so I can get caught up and then maybe I get back to taking my notes. Work be crazy. The Scentsy be crazy. I'm going to do a video about my Scentsy and all of that kind of stuff. I got a launch party coming up, so it's a lot of stuff happening. I appreciate y'all sticking in there with me. I love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. See y'all later. Bye.